that is cities.
कि बीते दिनों आईटी मंत्री अश्विनी वैष्णव ने ये कहा था कि देश में 5G को धीरे धीरे अलग अलग फेज में लॉन्च किया जाएगा। पहले फेज के लिए कुछ शहरों का चयन किया गया है जहां सबसे पहले 5G सर्विस लॉन्च होगा और प्रधानमंत्री इस वक्त जो टेलीकॉम ऑपरेटर्स हैं उनके साथ बातचीत करते हुए उनसे वो जानने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि किस तरह से उन ऑपरेटर्स के जरिए 5G सर्विस की शुरुआत होगी। और जैसा कि हमने कहा कि बीते दिनों ही केंद्रीय मंत्री अश्विनी वैष्णव ने यह कहा था कि पहले फेज में देश के 13 शहर जहां की 5G कनेक्टिविटी की शुरुआत की जाएगी, उन 13 शहरों हम आपको जानकारी दे दें, अहमदाबाद, बेंगलुरु, चंडीगढ़, चेन्नई, दिल्ली।
Aishwarya is with us for more details on that story. Aishwarya, for our viewers, do tell them the rollout of 5G will be changing our experience altogether. Talk to us about the benefits of it.
Well, one of the things that this will do, Sneha, is the fact that there will be a lot of economic progress that we will see taking place. Because the Prime Minister has time and again been talking about the fact that we need technology, we need to become the technology hub of the world. And this has been doing rounds since way back in 2014, since Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister. He's been focusing on the fact that for India to become the global leader, the one sphere where we really need to work upon is the technology part. We also saw how last year, Prime Minister, in a series of meetings, had been time and again pointing out towards the fact that there are many parts of the country where we don't have good network and 5G is the solution, which is how we are seeing the ministry now working on it. And on one hand, today we will see the 5G, the PM will launch the 5G, and on the other hand, we will see that work on 6G will also begin. So this shows you how keen the Prime Minister is on making sure that the country becomes the hub for technology. And not just that, we understand that the Prime Minister will also be speaking with all the corporates and asking them to pitch it. Prime Minister has time and again also been speaking about the fact that globally...
Be with us, Aishwarya. I'll just come back to you for more on that. We're going across to these pictures. Listen in.
117 करोड़ से अधिक दूरसंचार उपयोगकर्ता उपभोक्ता और हमारे देश में 82 करोड़ से अधिक इंटरनेट के जो कंज्यूमर हैं, जो ग्राहक हैं, उनके साथ भारत डिजिटल उपभोक्ताओं के लिए सबसे अधिक तीव्र गति से वृद्धि करते हुए वैश्विक बाजारों में से एक है। यहां पे हमने जैसे बताया आपको 117 करोड़ से अधिक दूरसंचार उपयोगकर्ता हैं और 82 करोड़ से अधिक इंटरनेट ग्राहकों के साथ वैश्विक बाजार में सबसे तीव्र गति से आगे बढ़ने वाला, वृद्धि करने वाला भारत एक है। और एक संस्था है मैकेन्से, उन्होंने 2019 में एक अध्ययन किया था और उसके मुताबिक भारत दूसरी सबसे अधिक तीव्र गति से डिजिटलीकरण करने वाली इकोनॉमी है, अर्थव्यवस्था है। आज इंडिया मोबाइल कांग्रेस की भी शुरुआत हो चुकी है और इसी कार्यक्रम में प्रधानमंत्री 5G सर्विस की भी शुरुआत करने वाले हैं। 5G 5वीं पीढ़ी का एक मोबाइल नेटवर्क है और जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं कि देश में 1G, फिर 2G, फिर 3G और 4G नेटवर्क के बाद एक नया वैश्विक वायरलेस एक मानक है 5G। 5G के जो हाई बैंड स्पेक्ट्रम है उसमें जो इंटरनेट की जो स्पीड है उसकी गति का परीक्षण 20 गीगाबाइट प्रति सेकंड के रूप में किया गया। आप समझ सकते हैं कितने स्पीड इसकी गति होगी। 5G में 20 Gbps के रूप में इसका परीक्षण किया गया है। अगर इसी के मुकाबले 4G सर्विस की बात करें, तो अधिकांश मामलों में 4G में जो अधिकतम इंटरनेट की डेटा की स्पीड है वो 1 Gbps दर्ज की गई है। तो 4G में हम और आप इन दिनों 1 Gbps की स्पीड को एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, लेकिन 5G सर्विस के आ जाने के बाद से हम 20 गुना ज्यादा स्पीड को एक्सपीरियंस कर पाएंगे। 20 Gbps गीगाबाइट प्रति सेकंड के स्पीड में हमें वो सुविधा मिल पाएगी। दूरसंचार क्रांति के लिहाज से आज का दिन बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण, और न सिर्फ दूरसंचार के लिहाज से बल्कि इसके और क्या कुछ यूजेस हैं। हम जानते हैं कि इन दिनों इंडस्ट्रियल रिवॉल्यूशन 4.0 का जमाना है, चौथी औद्योगिक क्रांति चल रही है, और इस क्रांति में इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स, क्लाउड, बिग डेटा, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस और एज कंप्यूटिंग के साथ साथ ये जो 5G तकनीक है, प्रधानमंत्री इसका एक्सपीरियंस करते हुए इस सर्विस का, 5G सर्विस का और इनका प्रयोग इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स की बात की जाए या फिर क्लाउड की बात की जाए, बिग डेटा, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, एज कंप्यूटिंग के साथ 5G चौथी औद्योगिक क्रांति का एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण प्रवर्तक हो सकता है। अलग अलग क्षेत्रों में इस 5G सर्विस का उपयोग किया जाएगा, फिर चाहे वो हेल्थ सेक्टर की बात हो, मोबाइल बैंकिंग की बात हो, इन तमाम क्षेत्रों में डिफेंस की बात हो, फिनटेक कंपनियों की बात हो, रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट की बात हो, इन तमाम क्षेत्रों में ही 5G सर्विस का डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा। और सबसे पहले जो हमारे उद्योग जगत हैं वो इस एक्सपीरियंस को महसूस करेंगे और उसके बाद आम जनता के लिए इस सर्विस की शुरुआत की जाएगी। कहा जा रहा है कि इसका जो इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट होगा इस 5G सर्विस का, गवर्नमेंट द्वारा ही एक पैनल नियुक्त किया गया था और उस 2018 की बात है ये, और उस पैनल ने एक रिपोर्ट जारी की और इस रिपोर्ट के मुताबिक 5G सर्विस से साल 2035 तक भारत में 1 ट्रिलियन अमेरिकी डॉलर का जो इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट है वो पैदा होने की संभावना है। ये उम्मीद जाहिर की गई है इस रिपोर्ट के मुताबिक। आज का दिन बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण, हम 5G सर्विस की बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन पहली पीढ़ी से 1G से लेकर 5वीं पीढ़ी तक का विकास भी अपने आप में काफी महत्वपूर्ण रहा। 1G सर्विस की बात की जाए तो 1G सर्विस साल 1980 के दशक में इसे लॉन्च किया गया था और ये एनालॉग रेडियो सिग्नल पर काम करता था और केवल वॉइस कॉल को ही समर्थन करता था। फिर 1990 के दशक में 2G सर्विस को लॉन्च किया गया जो डिजिटल रेडियो सिग्नल का उपयोग करता है और 64 kbps के बैंडविड्थ के साथ वॉइस को भी और डेटा को भी ट्रांसमिट करने में ये इसको सपोर्ट करता है 2G सर्विस। फिर जमाना आया 3G सर्विस का। 2000 के दशक में 1 Mbps से 2 Mbps की गति के साथ इसे लॉन्च किया गया था और इसमें डिजिटल वॉइस की बात हो, वीडियो कॉल की बात हो, कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग की बात हो, इन तमाम क्षमताओं के साथ 3G सर्विस की शुरुआत हुई थी। फिर साल 2009 में 100 Mbps से 1 Gbps की जो एक पीक स्पीड हम कहें, उस पीक स्पीड के साथ 4G सर्विस को लॉन्च किया गया था और इसकी तमाम खूबियों के साथ साथ 4G सर्विस में जिसका कि हम और आप इन दिनों इसका उपयोग कर रहे हैं, ये 3D वर्चुअल रियलिटी को भी सक्षम बनाता है।
Aishwarya is getting us more details on that story. Continues to be with us from Pragati Maidan in Delhi, where this event is taking place. It's a big day for the country. This, Aishwarya, undoubtedly will be changing the face of India's telecom sector altogether.
Well, this definitely is also a step to pick up the $5 trillion economy. That is what the Prime Minister has been emphasizing on, Sneha, for the past many years. And what we are seeing today is step one. Step two will be to make sure that the country in the next 2 years gets a cheap and very good internet connection. And step three will be to make sure that all the corporates use the 5G and then they help push the economy to the $5 trillion dream that the Prime Minister has. And what we are seeing today is just step one. We will also, Sneha, see that on one side today we will see the Prime Minister launching the 5G. The ministry, in fact, has already started working on 6G. So that is also something that will happen in the next couple of years. Prime Minister has time and again been talking about the fact that for India to make that giant leap, for us to be equal amongst every other country in the world, what we need is to master technology. And he's been given time and again the examples of the state of other states, of how they are making sure that they take the leap forward. So this is also something which we will see happen in the next couple of years. But Sneha, it's good news for the consumers, for you and I, because there are many places when we go, we feel that, the calls drop. You must have also seen it. So those things will be ironed out. Those wrinkles will be ironed out in the next couple of years. Sneha.
Be with us, Aishwarya. I'll come back to you in a moment from now. Executive Editor Shiv Arora is also now joining us. Shiv, the fact is that this is a great day. Like I said, this will change the face of the Indian telecom sector, but the wait is going to be long, isn't it? Sometime by the end of 2023, will we actually get to enjoy the benefits of these services?
That's right. It's going to be a rollout, but today is the big bang day, Sneha, when the services begin to kick into effect in different parts of the country. Initially, it will be just a handful of towns and cities, and then there will be that big national rollout. But what the Prime Minister is doing today, very interesting pictures live from Pragati Maidan, because he just got that introduction to Jio's 5G services personally from Akash Ambani, the son of Mukesh Ambani, the chiefs of the three big mobile services companies, Jio, Airtel and Vodafone, all there with him, Kumar Mangalam Birla, Sunil Bharti Mittal, as well as Mukesh Ambani himself, all there personally to, guide the Prime Minister through the technologies that are going to be rolled out. It's a very big day. The combined net worth inside Pragati Maidan right now is going to be a record of some kind. But I think what most people, must know, and I think it's very important to know, is the technologies that the Prime Minister is being shown as we speak inside Pragati Maidan right now is going to change all of our lives in the next, 9, 10, 11, 12 months, Sneha, because the rollout is going to be very rapid. We do know that the Prime Minister and the government have placed great onus on rapid 5G rollout. Remember, countries like China and other parts of the world already have full 5G effective, across services, not just for mobile telephony, but also for, education, healthcare, things like that. And therefore, the imperative that the 5G rollout is not only smooth, but effective, covers large parts of the country as quickly as possible, especially those that need it the most, is going to be something, that is going to be a priority area for this government. And I think that's the reason why the Prime Minister is personally there. That's why the chiefs of these companies are personally there. We understand that there are going to be 3 very interesting demonstrations by each of the 3 companies in just a short while from now. They're going to link, students to teachers. There's going to be a healthcare demonstration. There's going to be a village demonstration as well to demonstrate connectivity. I mean, just imagine super clear, glitch-free, a live video streaming, the ability for telemedicine, the distance education that covers a large part of the country without compromising on quality. The opportunities and the abilities through 5G are going to be literally endless. And for a country like ours that's looking at that, elusive faraway castle of a $5 trillion economy, 5G is going to be a huge booster rocket for that, Sneha.
Well, absolutely, Shiv. And the kind of benefits that you're talking about essentially will also mean that initially, to begin with, at least the tariff is going to be high. Also, smartphones, how many of them are really 5G compliant? That too is going to be a bit of a challenge there, isn't it? Currently, I understand just about 10% of the phones are 5G compliant.
Remember that the leap from 4G to 5G in terms of change, in terms of capability differences, in terms of the, how much further it takes you from, one regime to another, it's the longest, it's the biggest leap between anything. The leap between 2G to 3G, 3G to 4G was significant, but 4G to 5G is an exponentially bigger leap in every possible way. So obviously there will be some, there will be some transitory issues, Sneha, like there were between 3G and 4G as well, in terms of mobile phone compatibility, in terms of all sorts of things. Even in terms of the technical rollout, there will be teething troubles, and that's only to be expected, especially in a country as large as India. And you've got three big mobile operators who will be rolling it out. But I don't foresee a great crunch or a problem, because India has been looking at 5G for a while now. The companies that are doing the rollout are companies that have, been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. So it's something to look forward to.
Be with us, Shiv. Coming back to you in a few moments. Ayush, our tech editor, is also now joining us. Ayush, I'm going to put that question to you that I did to Shiv as well. Let's talk about the telephones, the smartphones, which are not 5G compliant just yet. Talk to us a little about whether 4G SIM cards are going to really work. How are they going to then upgrade to 5G? How is that really going to move eventually when the services are rolled out to more than 7 cities?
Absolutely, Sneha. Some of the points that Shiv made were very pertinent. And to answer your question, when we're talking about 4G SIM cards and devices from the previous generation, look, it's interesting. When you speak to chip makers all over the country, this is one of the first times when, even much before the technology was launched, we've already seen how most of the new smartphone launches for the last six months or maybe 12 months have already been 5G capable. So I think that's been a conscious move by smartphone manufacturers. Of course, when it comes to switching over to a 5G SIM, we've seen how easy number portability was over the past couple of years, especially since 2016, since the geo effect, so to speak, and when data costs became so cheap and everything became so accessible. But coming back to the India Mobile Congress, Sneha, it's a momentous, massive occasion in the world of technology. We'll be covering it at Business Today. In fact, there's a panel a little later today which talks about from telcos to tech. And I think the real moniker or the nomenclature really explains so much, because at the end of the day, telecom companies have an incredible opportunity to shape the digital transformation journey of India.
Be with us, Ayush. I'm going to come back to you in a moment from now, because we're going to talk to you in greater detail about how this will change the experience of the consumers who will eventually start to use 5G in a few months from now, even if not immediately. Karishma is also now joining us for more details on that. Karishma, the experience clearly will change for the consumers in terms of connectivity, in terms of the speed. Tell us, how is it going to be not just above the 4G network?
Well, I think it's one step up towards innovation and technology that India is currently looking at. And let's not forget that these efforts are not just of last few days, but last few years. In fact, Telecom Minister currently, I must tell you, Sneha, the on-ground picture at Pragati Maidan is he's going through the Geo Pavilion, looking at the different kind of experiential stalls that are put. In fact, on record, Reliance Jio and Bharti Airtel have given a word that around closer to Diwali, there's going to be a big 5G dhamaka. The announcements are going to be out there. And early 2023 and 2024, we could see a full rollout plan of 5G for the Indian consumers. Like Ayush also mentioned, that a lot of telecom companies are currently in the process of trying and redevising their phones in a way that it could be 5G compliant, especially when it comes to the mega launches of big players like that of Apple and Samsung. It's going to be a task ahead for them, but also an opportunity that lies with the Indian audience.
Yes, be with us, Karishma. An opportunity, undoubtedly. Ayush is also with us. Ayush, the first things, about how the experience of the consumer will change. Buffering is something that's going to be done away with. That's such a relief. Also, how this is going to move in terms of our use of gadgets that we do. That experience will change altogether as well.
Absolutely, Sneha. There's a larger use case, of course. With it, so to speak, the user experience gets better. But obviously over here, if we're talking theoretically of speeds 10 times more, it's going to get better exponentially. But just talking about some of the larger use cases. Look, when it was about 4G, we were talking about smart cities, IoT connected devices, and it became a sort of a content revolution here in India, especially when data got so much cheaper. But now when we're talking about 5G, there's a much larger picture story out there. Just think about what 5G, low latency networks, high quality, high speed networks mean for telesurgery, telemedicine, right? The use cases are endless. The metaverse will only, if it is to go by, and if it's supposed to be successful the way Mr. Zuckerberg and Microsoft and other top tech companies are looking at it, will only be as successful as envisaged if 5G really takes off. And I think that's a massive opportunity. Some of the other use cases that you were talking about, you talk about drone-based farming, high-security routers, smart ambulances, AR, VR, right? There's just several use cases of 5G which can really take the user experience to the next level. Yes, and of course, like you said, buffering should be of days of the past, but it's really important in terms of how the spectrum allocation happened that we might see parts of India connected like we had never seen before. And another use case, when we're talking about industrial use cases and how this might change India's entire enterprise story as well, it really happens to be what 5G is going to do with private 5G networks as well, because we've seen how private 5G is being really projected all over the world, and maybe top corporates in India will be able to snap it up and do all sorts of things on low latency.
Ayush, apart from that, when you talk about the benefits, some of it fairly convenient, for us, wireless connectivity, that's going to be great. Also improving performance of how quickly our apps really work, isn't it, when it comes to high-speed data?
Absolutely, Sneha. Like you said, the user experience changes, but just think about India being such a massive agricultural nation. For us, precision agriculture, right? It really minimizes the role of human intervention in so many things. Look, 5G is going to be transformational globally, right? And for tech geeks and tech enthusiasts, I think the big question really is what it does for the metaverse, like I said earlier, because in the metaverse, within all sorts of concepts, which you'll see at India Mobile Congress and report through the course of the next few days. There'll be digital twins. The fact that an architect sitting in London and an engineer sitting in Mumbai can work on a project in the middle of sub-Saharan Africa, that can all be done using 5G networks. That can be done using the industrial metaverse. And I think these are things we should look forward to, the much larger digital transformation journey and the potential that 5G brings.
Undoubtedly. Karishma, also at this meeting today where the Prime Minister is in the launch, there are going to be presentations, I understand, from each of these companies who are present there today. Tell us a little more about these presentations as well.
Wasnea, I think the highlight of today has to be the kind of sectors that various companies are looking at. What we're picking up is at that Bharti Airtel stall, which is conducting its experiential site at the Geo Pavilion, in fact, has its major focus on 5G in the agriculture sector. And past few days, we've been learning that how government is trying to make these telecom developments in order to, of course, upscale their work towards the health, education, farming and transport. Now let's think that how probably with the help of a 5G sensor in a rural area, the economy could be pulled to a scale that would ideally take about 5 to 6 years. So if we're talking about a 5 trillion economy by 2026, then this 5G is going to stand a very, very important leading partner towards the economic growth. Besides this, we know that Vodafone Idea and Reliance Jio have also set up their stalls. The current situation is that Prime Minister Modi, of course, is visiting all the various stalls. A couple of my colleagues who are on ground are sharing that Airtel champ, that is Sunil Bharti Mittal, has also joined Prime Minister Modi at the company's 5G pavilion. And we also have various other startups and telecom startups along with the telecom minister who are doing quite a recce around what they have best to offer. Throughout the day, we are going to not only see a lot of new announcements, but most important, we are going to see that this schedule that government has kind of focused on, the timeline that they've put towards 5G, it's actually going to take a confirmed shape throughout the events today.
Once again, for our viewers, let's talk about the rollout. And I'm going to bring in Ayush for that. Ayush, eventually the rollout is going to happen to all cities, probably by the end of 2023. But as far as the initial beneficiaries of this will be, these are 7 cities, includes Delhi, Mumbai. Tell us more about that also.
Cities that you mentioned. And like I was mentioning earlier, in terms of the use cases in these cities, we're going to see how different cities will and different rural areas will benefit differently from the rollout of 5G. You also asked earlier about 4G devices and whether they'll be compatible. Look, on the infrastructure side, it's a small tweak in terms of making it work for these telecom companies. For the users, what's very interesting is in the next few weeks, and even in rural India, in the next few months, we'll see inexpensive 5G smartphones being launched. That's something which is really interesting. Just think about the potential, Sneha, also with autonomous cars and what this can really do. You know, we were at the India Mobile Congress a few years ago, and I remember there were 5G providers who were talking about the potential of it just 2 or 3 years ago, and we've already come to the launch of 5G in October 2022. The demonstrations, which will be several today as well and tomorrow, and quite fascinating for most tech enthusiasts, were actually, making you do things like sitting in a remote location and driving an F1 car on an F1 track, maybe somewhere in the middle of Monaco. Or even when we're talking about autonomous cars, think about the launch. We've spoken about it extensively here on India Today and Business Today. The launch, perhaps, of companies like Tesla in India. This week was a landmark week for electric vehicles. We saw the Tata Tiago EV launch. We also saw the Mercedes Made in India EQS launch. The next leap for them necessarily could be autonomous cars. And that is only enabled if we have strong networks with low latency. When I say low latency, very simply for our audience, it essentially means that if something happens now, the lag or the delay that you see, and earlier you mentioned buffering, would be minimized to or mitigated to a large extent. So something happens in location A using a 5G low latency, high quality network. In location B, in a matter of a few milliseconds, you'd be able to see that change. Maybe to the human eye, you wouldn't be able to perceive that there was a delay in both locations. So, if we're talking about being at two places at the same time, I think 5G really changes that in the coming years.
All right, Ayush, I'm thanking you for the moment. You mentioned this point about buffering, and I think that's what really concerns me the most, and that's the reason why I'm extremely delighted about the fact that from here on, if you're trying to access YouTube and also OTT platforms, and buffering is something that's going to be a thing of the past. And I'm going to now go across to Karishma also, who's joining us for more on that. Karishma, at the end of the day, this is also about the economy and the manner in which the economy is expected to grow by leaps and bounds. The estimate is that $450 billion is going to be gained by the economy owing to these services, and this actually is a direct result of the 5G services.
Yes, and that's a very important part of the 5 trillion economy that the government is targeting. I mean, let us keep aside all the kind of geopolitical factors that have impacted the current Indian economy situation. In fact, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has repeatedly said that despite the existing factors, India's economy is doing really well. And telecom has been India's strong point. Look at what we were probably 30 decades before, when we just had to rely on Tata Communications or BSNL. And right now we have major private players ruling the abode. Now, talking a bit about the 5G timelines, Sneha, that you also mentioned about, it was in the month of August that all the telecom players were, of course, a part of the spectrum auction. And though not a lot has been revealed out of it, which likely is going to happen today, it looks like Reliance Jio and Airtel are going to be the front runners when it comes to taking 5G across. In fact, these companies will also launch 5G in cities like majorly, of course, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Ahmedabad. They're going to start off with the metro cities. And of course, since most of them also have their focus on the rural and agriculture economy, they're going to try and expand as soon as possible. Unfortunately, we're not going to see a rollout of 5G in terms of utilization this very year, but early 2023 is the word that major telecom companies are giving us in terms of getting users' hands on it. In fact, the giants have not yet revealed the 5G tariff plans, but maybe we could find surprises in the next 3 days with companies, because this is going to be also a very competitive process, and the bidding process towards the spectrum will also very competitive. So it could be a brilliant platform for companies to pitch in the best offer that they have for the consumers.
Right, Karishma, be with us. Coming back to you again in a moment from now. Anuj, Anju Agarwal, I beg your pardon, cybersecurity expert, is also now joining us. Thank you for your time. Do talk to us a little about how the experience vis-a-vis cybersecurity is going to improve significantly with the rollout of 5G services in the country.
Yeah, with the advent of 5G and the kind of speed we are going to see, the artificial intelligence-based cybersecurity systems are definitely going to improve, and they will be effective. So far, what is happening that, the kind of malware and the threat actors which are entering into the system, because of the limited speed and the bandwidth, the artificial intelligence-based heuristics are not able to really counter them effectively. And they are able to roam around the network and do the damage. With the advent of 5G, we can expect the speed and the bandwidth both to increase dramatically, and the effectiveness of all these systems which are based on the artificial intelligence to counter the increasing threats of ransomware and the other malware which are roaming around in the system. So I think there is going to be an improved cybersecurity environment after the advent of 5G.
But there are concerns about low latency networks as well. How is that going to be addressed?
No, the latency will be actually better than what we are seeing today. It will be improved significantly because it is not only the speed which is going to increase, it is the overall bandwidth. We can very simply understand it is going to be a 10-lane or a 20-lane highway, while today we are having 2-lane or a 4-lane highway. So it is not only that the speed will increase, it is the availability of the overall space will increase. So latency will actually improve. It will not go down.
Right. Also, Karishma, we are talking about the various kind of services apart from improved speeds that we are looking at and we are hoping for with the eventual rollout of 5G services. Talk to us about the new things to expect vis-a-vis metaverse. That's something that Ayush touched upon as well. Also, on the manner in which connectivity essentially is going to improve.
Well, right. The growing momentum in 5G innovation is based on its major potential to serve diverse users cases through the kind of different arenas that have been explained, be it edge computing, network slicing, inherent security. But what will 5G bring to India is the big question that we're asking. And while we're talking about economic growth and we're talking about good internet connectivity as the 5th generation internet connectivity, what most importantly it's going to bring is a vision to digital India, which I think Prime Minister Modi and Telecom Minister has been quite stressing about. It's not like that India is still trying to get there to the spot of being a digital economy. We're already kind of leading when it comes to dealing our finances digitally, be it the UPI interface, which is doing brilliantly well, the Bharat QR code that government had introduced. The 5G is just going to add that little touch to the already successful digital economy that the government is talking about. And going further, this is only going to expand the whole arena of startups and companies that have come up. Look at the kind of unicorns we have, and this will just edge the whole game of transactions when it comes to the Indian economy.
Anuj Agarwal, given that a lot of the country is going to be connected, and that's what we are expecting in days and months and years to come, does this really not then demand our cyber security systems to be more robust than what they are today?
Now, with the advent of 5G, the IoT will proliferate. So every household, today we have connectivity in offices to a larger extent, but now it will proliferate to the households and it will go to the smaller cities in a big way. Your TV, your fridge, your oven, everything, washing machine will be connected through the internet. The requirement of cyber security, it will dramatically change, because so far we had been more or less dealing with the educated office workers. Now we will be dealing with every kind of a person utilizing 5G and 5G enabled IoT devices, and almost every device will be IoT enabled. So the dimension of cyber security will definitely be totally different than what we are seeing. And if not handled carefully and immediately, the cyber crime will definitely go up. Right now itself, the scenario is not great. As far as the cyber crime is concerned, it is increasing day by day. And with the advent of 5G and proliferation of IoT with every household, this is definitely going to be a risk area. And I think the government and every other stakeholders, the telecom companies and the ecosystem around the e-commerce and everything else, they will have to seriously think and invest heavily into this. Otherwise, the public at large may think otherwise about adoption of 5G in their day-to-day life.
And also help us in many other directions as well. In healthcare, for example, Karishma, where critical services such as telesurgery is now going to be delivered with 5G services getting rolled out. Amongst the others, autonomous cars also, for example, something that we can look forward to.
Yes, absolutely. If we talk about healthcare, I think one of the biggest lessons we've learned through the pandemic is the kind of infrastructure and resource building that every country has to do, be it developed or developing. I think introduction of 5G will definitely provide that essential level of connectivity to enable a new health ecosystem, one that can help a patient meet its doctor or provider needs accurately and also conveniently, cost effectively and quickly. And it's not just healthcare we are talking about, but any kind of sector that we big bet on. The connectivity and a better approach with a stronger network will definitely help in making life easier. And what better than turning it all around towards the Make in India and Atmanirbhar concept? Well, who thought that in the 76th year of independence we would be at a stage where we are able to upgrade to such new fifth generation metaverses so quickly. So I think, as I said, land of opportunities with the best platform to offer. I think it's a great platform for companies in India, for startups in India, for the telecom sector in India to upscale and match the global competition. Also interesting is that because of the recent geopolitical issues, a lot has been impacted when it comes to chip manufacturing, semiconductors, or even if we talk about certain other technology dependencies that we have to do. So somewhere this new 5G connectivity, this new self-dependence on a new innovation will help us kind of pave a way towards solving all these problems quickly.
Well, absolutely. I'm also now bringing in once again my colleague Aishwarya, who is at this event at Pragati Maidan in Delhi, pictures of which we are putting out for our viewers on our screens right now. These are live pictures of the Prime Minister right now. Aishwarya, just take us to what next in terms of the demonstrations. There's also going to be a demonstration by each of these companies present there. What to expect in the next couple of minutes or so?
Well, we will expect the PM to officially inaugurate the 5G. What the Prime Minister at the moment is doing, and this is something, Sneha, which he has been doing for quite some time now. He understands what exactly is happening. He also wants the corporates to tell him the benefits of 5G. In fact, we are also seeing the Minister along with the Prime Minister, both of them, going stall by stall and understanding how exactly the economy will grow and what are the changes that will happen. In fact, from what I am understanding, Prime Minister has also been talking about some of the problems that the Indians are facing and speaking to the corporates about those problems and giving them advice on what they can do with this new rollout. Now, on one hand, we are seeing that the 5G will be rolled out today. The work on 6G, Sneha, let me tell you, has already started. And we could see 6G also being rolled out in the next couple of years. This also will be beneficial for the security. For our, PM has been talking about the fact that we do need high-speed internet. Security is also something that the Prime Minister has been speaking with these corporates. So we can expect the Prime Minister to roll out 5G in just a couple of minutes from now. In fact, the interaction that we are seeing play out stall by stall, Prime Minister and the IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav going and speaking with the corporates, understanding how 5G will change the landscape of the country. Sneha.
Undoubtedly change the landscape of the country and touch every aspect of our lives, isn't it, Karishma? Because the more I read about it, the more, it just gives us an idea of how things are going to change for every single thing that we do. For example, it says that there is going to be real-time monitoring of disasters, all the more important for a country like India, where climate change is a reality, and not just India, outside as well, more so for us, isn't it? Where we see so many disasters related to climate change.
Well, Sneha, primarily how will it change the whole landscape is that I will try and focus on the E letter, which is efficiency. We are going to be looking at energy efficiency, spectrum efficiency, and network efficiency. The whole agenda behind these kind of introductions and developments that government is doing is to try and make life easier for many people. We always wonder that that why do we look at first world countries doing better in terms of managing a disaster, or why do we look at them trying and following all the SDG 30 goals on time, and why is that we always wonder that in India we are looking at a slow pace? Well, that is the kind of common perception that comes, but I think the bigger goal that the government is looking at here is to try and make things more efficient, things more streamlined. Aishwarya did mention about the 6G connectivity, and that's a great point to pick up, because Prime Minister Modi, in his last address, when he was mentioning about the 5G connectivity, also said that government is looking also to introduce 6G by next decade, and that is not far. That is just 10 years down the line, where we are also looking to cross the 5 trillion economy, and we are going to be looking at the next milestone. So it will not be surprising. It will not be something unusual if we say that India could actually try and compete with the first world countries by the next year. Because if you look at the economic growth, and if you look at the kind of development that the country is doing in terms of its manufacturing, in terms of its self-reliant goal that it has held, we are quite in the competitive league now. And with 5G, what also will make us strong is to come out as one of the strongly emergent countries in Asia. While we talk about network connectivity and ease of access in countries like that of South Korea, we're looking at Japan, of course, China. Now we see that India will also be considered among the big leagues when it comes to its telecom power.
Undoubtedly. Karishma, be with us. Siddharth Zarabi, also managing editor of Business Today, is now joining us. Thank you, Siddharth, for joining us this morning. We've spoken at length about the kind of benefits really that the 5G services will offer once the eventual rollout across the country happens sometime towards the end of 2023. But I wanted to talk about that one big highlight that you are looking at from the rollout of 5G services that's supposed to happen any moment now, actually.
Well, the biggest thing really in terms of the benefit for data-hungry and data-using Indians is speed. Let me give you and our viewers a comparison. The best speed that you can get on the best possible tariff plan on 5G today is 10 gigabits per second. 5G will take that 10 times up, which means you will get 100 gigabits per second. That is speed. India is a nation of downloads. We download everything, plus we share everything. The propensity of Indians on a train to talk, the propensity of Indians to talk even during a plane ride when you have nothing else to do, has also reflected on the massive amounts of talk time that Indian networks are known for globally. And we are also a nation of WhatsApp forwards. When you put that all together, plus you look at the consumption of video for personal entertainment, for communication, for specific high-end applications that can range from medicine to education to disaster relief, many of the points that you and your earlier guests were talking about, you therefore come to the basic need, a network that can support and deliver that kind of traffic. It's like the busiest road in Delhi. It's like the road from Mumbai to Thane. It is the road that connects Chennai with some of its big suburbs. It's the road that connects Bengaluru with its Silicon hub. And that road needs much higher capacity, much higher throughput, and the ability to provide safe, uninterrupted point-to-point travel. The same point-to-point communication principle will apply in 5G. While Indians do so much of talking, sharing, data consumption, network quality becomes an issue. Call drops. जरा बाहर आके फोन लगाना, आवाज नहीं आ रही है, व्हाट्सएप पे कॉल करो, यार कुछ तुमसे सुनाई नहीं पड़ रहा है, कौन सा फोन लेके बैठे हुए हो, सिम कार्ड बदलो. All of that should disappear because 5G network quality allows for most of that to happen. But it's not going to be cheap or easy. And the biggest thing is that today, India is now, just like it is amongst those select nations which have space capabilities, India is now a true 5G nation. Day one will not mean that every Indian has access to 5G.
Yes.
It's a rollout. It will move from the most premium customer and the easiest place where networks can be available, ultimately in a few years down the line, to the smallest cities and towns and villages across India. And that will empower us and put us head and shoulder, in fact, leagues above. There is no comparison, right with China and 3-4 other countries in the world. We will be sent out from this South Asian neighborhood that we have, which is full of economic problems.
You know, Siddharth, you did mention, and you know, I at the risk of sounding like a party pooper, have been saying this, that even though it might be rolled out by the end of 2023, you know, great case scenario where many cities have it, most cities of the country have it. But the fact is that right now only 10% of phones are 5G compliant. What is the upgrade going to look like from 4G phones to 5G phones? That too is going to be a tall order. Then again, the cost factor of it, this really isn't going to be cheap, isn't it?
That's a wonderful question, because we are focused on the consumer, and ultimately, while the companies have paid massive amounts of money, including just one operator paid just under 90,000 crore for getting the spectrum. So let's leave that math and the big numbers aside. You have asked a very pertinent question. Network aa gaya, sadak ban gayi, gaadi kiske paas hai? And it's absolutely correct. The gaadi, the car, the handset has to be owned by the individual subscriber. A quick comparison, 25 years ago when mobility started taking off in India, once in 1999, with the new telecom policy, in 2003, when for the first time Indians did not have to pay to receive a mobile phone call, things started changing. And as we are on the cusp of 2023, and if you look at it from the Hindu calendar, Samvat 2079, the key point is handset cost and the monthly tariff. On handsets, since networks do not bundle handsets in India, unlike many evolved markets, including the Western countries, Europe and America, for example, people bear the cost of handsets. Now, at the high end, all the recent launches, and by the way, I just want to give one statistic that should answer part of the question that you perhaps left unsaid. In the last few weeks, Samsung launched a very high-end, very expensive cell phone, of which advertising is still going around. I wonder how many of our viewers would know that within a matter of days, actually, more than 100,000 of those phones were booked. And these are phones that are well upwards of 6-digit figures in cost terms. So there is one India, upper crust India, that can easily afford. Then there is a middle India, which is conscious, perhaps has a little marginal money to spend. And then there are those Indians who need our support. In terms of the handset offerings, I believe that today India is one of the most diverse and democratic markets when it comes to handset availability. Unlike in certain other models where you are, tied to the network operator, here our customers have different capabilities. Make in India has led to the development of cheap, affordable smartphones in the country, and the cost to switch over to 5G for the handset makers is not too much. There has been a small hitch, which is the availability of chipsets, a global semiconductor shortage. But I believe that within the next 3 to 6 months, by next year, March, April, you will see a profusion of models. Currently, 10 to 12 major models are 5G capable, but we will have hundreds literally in a matter of just months.
You know, Siddharth, you did say right at the very outset that for India, the need is data. We are a data-hungry country, essentially, and speeds need to be faster. Connectivity needs to be better. That's something that we'll all be looking forward to. But, you know, just do a bit of a comparison for our understanding on how 5G network essentially works in more developed countries outside of India. And that is an experience that we may not have immediately even after the rollout, isn't it?
On the last part, I would give you an answer which says that initially only some of the most easily networkable areas and the higher end of the segment will get access to good 5G. But it's not as if our operators or the technology that they are using is not global. In fact, it is world class. You will see a lot of countries across the world study the Indian 5G rollout model. I promise you that a year down the line, there will be use cases. Just as one Indian operator went and did the earliest version of mobile payments all over the African continent well over 10, 15 years ago, and then it was adopted in the rest of the world. Outsourced network contracts were again an innovation that came from India. You will see that the 5G Indian model will be very innovative. And without getting too technical, let me quickly try and give you a scenario of why I believe that. There are three baskets or two baskets essentially when it comes to India's mobile network operators. One is the private basket, the other is the government basket. The government basket is essentially Bharat Sanchar and MTNL. A strategic call was taken by the Modi government in the recent years that there has to be one strong Sarkari state-owned operator as a balancing factor in the market. That is why Bharat Sanchar continues to receive thousands and thousands of crore of state support and subsidies. Air India has been divested. Bharat Sanchar has not been divested. Bharat Sanchar is now working on its own 5G stack. We will get more details of the contours of how it will approach that play. And the moment Bharat Sanchar comes into play, a completely different set of Indians who will be able to get access to 5G through the wide rural, semi-urban network footprint that Bharat Sanchar has. Delhi and Mumbai don't have Bharat Sanchar. They have MTNL, which is like the sister company of Bharat Sanchar. That will also move down this line. Then we come to the private basket. Within the private basket, there are three operators. And again, without getting technical, there are two approaches. One of those operators, Jio, has had the ability or I would say a stroke of luck because they simply entered late. They built a greenfield site. Imagine a piece of land completely clean. And today, if you were to build a building of 20 floors or 40 floors, incidentally, Jio, according to me, has built a building of 500 floors, far ahead of capacity and demand. You will build it to the latest technology, the best materials, ability to withstand earthquakes, ability to have best fire protection equipment, the best kind of internal fittings for its consumers. Beautiful, beautiful building. Bharti, Vodafone are amongst the pioneers of mobility in India. They already have a building and they have kept adding floors and layers to that as demand evolves. You know, you start with a two-member family, it grows, you add one more floor on the house. That's how they have built their networks. So there are two different technical approaches that are being used. Both operators' approach will lead to one quick point. It is in the interest of the operators that they offer affordable connectivity, number one, because the buyer is already first putting up money for the handset. Gaadi kharid li, but sadak nahi hai, to wo gaadi ka kuch nahi hoga. So it is in the interest of the operators to ensure that there is a good road, smooth road, without potholes, without it getting drowned during monsoons. The second ability is that due to competitive forces, one operator cannot keep his prices high because automatically everyone will go to the second one. The same example that happens in healthcare, for example, if one hospital were to absurdly price its ICU services, although I'm not comparing ICU with 5G at all, then you will not have people going there for critical care. This example can be taken across sectors. So there will be a competitive dynamic and the sarkar ka saya. If private operators hypothetically were to come together and keep prices high, there is Bharat Sanchar. And why I say this, in the past it has happened. The Sarkari operator has played the role of a price disruptor. In today's context, India's 4G revolution was without doubt disrupted with the pricing of Reliance Jio. That is Reliance Jio's contribution over the last decade to Indian telecom. I believe now Bharti, Vodafone, Idea and Jio will compete in a healthy, positive manner. The pain of this industry is behind them, and they will ensure that network quality will be immense. And when you, final point, sorry for that very long answer, please interrupt me if there is something more interesting. When all of these four networks come together, it's just so fascinating. That
carry on, Siddharth, carry on.
India's network operators again go to the neighborhood, minus China. There is no country anywhere, if you fly for 2,000 miles, as the crow flies, where you will have such fantastic telecom infrastructure. There is no country, minus 2 or 3, which have the kind of digital payment infrastructure that has been built, the multiplicity of apps, people transacting for 1 rupee on digital, which is, by the way, a net loss for those people who are allowing you that transaction. From 1 rupee to crores that you can just send across in a matter of pressing a few buttons or just a login and a password and 1 or 2, 3 steps. This is the beauty of India's telecom infrastructure. And one final point. In the 2019 general elections, I went on election duty across and covered several parts of the rural hinterland. And where I used to work those days, somebody came up to me. We were doing a sort of roadside show, and said, "Where is your channel seen?" And I was wondering, how do I tell him what code number, which cable? That 30 seconds later, the person came and said, "Acha, ye wala hai," and he was showing it to me on a popular live stream platform, which 400, 500 billion Indians use on a daily. Some of the use case scenarios are not even being imagined by me and you or the operator. The Indian customer, the Indian who is known for his jugaad, will come up with such fantastic applications which will justify the investment and this whole excitement that I personally feel today with India entering 5G.
Well, absolutely, Siddharth. And that example that you just cited about the manner in which towards rural India and also in smaller cities, when you talk about which channel you work for, and you just go on and you show the channel on your phone, there is delight. And we all feel extremely delighted when that really happens. And that's been our experience as well. That experience is bound to improve in the next few months or so to come. Like Siddharth said, we are a data-hungry country, and we always want more data and we want speed. And that is something which 5G is going to improve by leaps and bounds. I'm now being joined by Mohandas Pai also. Thank you so much for your time. What is your opinion, or what is your big takeaway from this big bang rollout of 5G services that's happening as we speak, sir?
No, my view is that it has been a long time coming, and it's a great day for India that people are going to get 5G. Obviously, 5G is going to improve the consumer experience, increase the productivity in the country, and bring India on par with other countries where 5G is there. You'll see that, we are going to have much more innovation in the video space. We'll have much more innovation in education. We'll have much more innovation everywhere. But we have to make sure that the quality remains high. That means proper investment is called for, and the big companies should not cringe on investment. Right now in 4G, in many places we are not getting the speeds we pay for. So I think regulatory control should improve, quality should be maintained, and of course, rollout should be done. And also the equipment has to be manufactured in India. I'm told that Jio is getting the software and everything done in India. That will be good, because from 5G, maybe in 5 years, we have to go to 6G. We have to set standards. So I think it's a great day for India.
Also, Mr. Pai, there are concerns that are being raised, as always, about the manner in which our cyber security systems need to be more robust at all times. More so now that we'll be seeing a rollout of this kind albeit by the end of 2023 across the country, isn't it?
Well, security has to be tightened up. It's good that we are not having Huawei. Huawei had close connection with the PLA and others. And China has become antagonistic to India, so we should keep Huawei out. And that's why we need Indian-based companies, and our Indian software companies have the expertise and ability. And Jio, I'm told, is doing that. And we are seeing the Tata's tie-up with the Tejas to do 4G for BSNL. I'm sure they will come with an alternative. We have to encourage them and focus and improve security. And I think security, if there's proper investment, there will not be a concern. I mean, there are ways and means to do it. People have to invest, government has to invest. And I'm sure that it will happen.
I'm thanking you for the moment, for joining us with your views on that very important and interesting and exciting story that we're tracking today. We're going to go straight across to Pragati Maidan now, from where we're getting in these live pictures of the Prime Minister who is inaugurating the 5G network, the services getting rolled out. Listen in.
नागरिकों के लिए ईज ऑफ लिविंग हो, इंडस्ट्री के लिए ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस हो, और इसी के चलते उनका ये आग्रह भी रहा है कि देश में आत्मनिर्भर भारत हो। और आत्मनिर्भर भारत के उनके विजन के कारण आज देश ने 4G बना लिया है, 5G बना लिया है, और इस दशक के अंत तक 6G भी बना लेंगे। और आप सब जानते हैं कि उनके आशीर्वाद और मार्गदर्शन से हमने टेलीकॉम क्षेत्र में कई रिफॉर्म्स भी किया है। मैं एक ही उदाहरण देता हूं। आज हमारे टेलीकॉम सर्विस प्रोवाइडर सुबह में स्पेक्ट्रम्स के लिए चार्जेस भरते हैं और कुछ ही घंटों में उनको स्पेक्ट्रम का एलोकेशन हो जाता है। ये नया भारत है, ये आपके आशीर्वाद के कारण हुआ है। और आज टेलीकॉम क्षेत्र में एडवांस टेलीकॉम टेक्नोलॉजी में जब हम आत्मनिर्भर हो रहे हैं, तब हम सबको ये पूरा भरोसा है कि दूर संचार आने वाले समय में अमृतकाल और संकल्प काल में हमें नई गति देगा, नई तेजी देगा और ऊर्जा देगा। और उसी ऊर्जा और गति के साथ हमारे गतिशील प्रधानमंत्री जी के विजन को, भारत की जनता की सेवा में ये 5G सेवा बहुत बहुत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाएगा। और पुनः मैं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का स्वागत करता हूं, आप सभी जनों का स्वागत करता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद माननीय मंत्री जी आपके स्वागत संदेश के लिए। और now inviting the Honorable Minister for Communications, Railways, Electronics and Information Technology, Shri Ashwini Vaishnav ji, for his address.
परम आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी, टेलीकॉम इंडस्ट्री के कैप्टन्स श्री देवू सिंह चौहान जी, सभी साथी, आज माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी भारत में 5G सर्विसेज का शुभारंभ कर रहे हैं। आज का दिन टेलीकॉम के इतिहास में स्वर्णिम अक्षरों में दर्ज होगा। इस शुभ अवसर पर आप सभी का अभिनंदन। टेलीकॉम डिजिटल इंडिया का गेटवे है, फाउंडेशन है, डिजिटल सर्विसेज को जन जन तक पहुंचाने का माध्यम है। आधुनिक जीवन में हम जो भी डिजिटल सर्विसेज देख रहे हैं, जो उपयोग कर रहे हैं, वो सब उसके मूल में टेलीकॉम है। इसीलिए देश की सामाजिक और आर्थिक उन्नति के लिए एक सुदृढ़ टेलीकॉम सेक्टर की आवश्यकता है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने टेलीकॉम सेक्टर को स्ट्रैटेजिक सेक्टर का दर्जा दिया है। इस सेक्टर के सभी डायमेंशंस पर प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हम सबको मार्गदर्शन दिया। ऐसे आपने स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स किए, प्रोसीजर्स में सिंप्लीफिकेशन किया। जो एक एवरेज परमिट 300 से ज्यादा दिन लगता था, वो आज 7 दिन से कम में एवरेज एक परमिशन मिल जाती है। सारे अप्रूवल्स आसान किए और सबसे बड़ी बात, टेक्नोलॉजी के डेवलपमेंट पर फोकस किया। वर्षों तक लिटिगेशन में फंसे इस सेक्टर को माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज एक रेगुलेटरी सर्टेनिटी दी है, एक ट्रांसपेरेंट व्यवस्था बनाई है। इन सभी प्रयासों का परिणाम है कि आज टेलीकॉम सेक्टर एक सनराइज इंडस्ट्री बन के उभर रहा है। देश में 5G सर्विसेज कई सेक्टर्स में फंडामेंटल चेंज आएगा। एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, एग्रीकल्चर, लॉजिस्टिक्स, बैंकिंग, ये ऐसे सेक्टर हैं जिसमें एक मूलभूत परिवर्तन आएगा, नई नई संभावनाएं उत्पन्न होगी। डिजिटल कैपेबिलिटीज को सेंटर में रख के उसके चारों तरफ नई सर्विसेज क्रिएट होंगी, कम्युनिकेशंस का स्वरूप बदल जाएगा। और सबसे बड़ी बात है, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी हमेशा अंत्योदय की भावना से सभी काम करते हैं। इस तेजी से बदलने वाली टेक्नोलॉजी की दुनिया में भी प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हमेशा साधारण मानवी तक सारी सुविधाएं कैसे पहुंचे, समाज के अंतिम छोर पे बैठे व्यक्ति तक सारी सुविधाएं कैसे पहुंचे, ऐसा हमेशा हमको मार्गदर्शन दिया। आपने लास्ट माइल तक पहुंचाने के लिए 35,000 करोड़ रुपीस सैंक्शन किए हैं, जिससे कि हर गांव तक अच्छी सर्विसेज पहुंच सके। मैं आपके लिए बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी। ऐसी सोच से ही देश का एक सुदृढ़ निर्माण होता है। हर घर तक फाइबर पहुंचे, इसके लिए आपने एक इनोवेटिव मॉडल तैयार किया है। आगामी महीनों में आपके इस सोच से दूर दराज के गांवों तक एक बहुत अच्छा एक परिणाम मिलेगा, बहुत अच्छी कनेक्टिविटी मिलेगी। आपने बीएसएनएल को एक मार्केट स्टेबलाइजिंग फोर्स का दर्जा देके 1,64,000 करोड़ का पैकेज दिया, जो कि ऐतिहासिक है और जो कि देश के ऐसे क्षेत्र जिसमें आज भी बीएसएनएल के ऊपर बहुत भरोसा है, उन सब के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट आपका ये पैकेज है। इन सभी प्रोग्राम के साथ आपने जो विशेष महत्व दिया माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, वो है भारत में निर्मित टेलीकॉम टेक्नोलॉजी। ये एक बहुत बड़ा फंडामेंटल चेंज आप लेके आए। भारत के इंजीनियर्स की प्रतिभा विश्व भर में प्रसिद्ध है। आपने संकल्प दिया 4G और 5G की टेक्नोलॉजी देश में निर्मित होनी चाहिए, एंड टू एंड निर्मित होनी चाहिए। बहुत मुश्किल टारगेट था, बहुत सारी बाधाएं थी, लेकिन आपके इस विजन को देश ने स्वीकार कर, और ऐसे जब प्रखर नेतृत्व जब एक विजन रखते हैं सामने, तो सारी बाधाएं पार कर कर देश सफल होता है। आज हिंदुस्तान के लिए गर्व की बात है, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के इस संकल्प से देश ने अपनी 5G टेक्नोलॉजी तैयार की है। आज दुनिया भर में भारत में विकसित 5G टेक्नोलॉजी की चर्चा है, और बहुत अच्छी संभावना है कि आगामी वर्षों में भारत एक टेलीकॉम टेक्नोलॉजी के लीडर के रूप में इमर्ज होगा। मैं फिर एक बार भारत के टेलीकॉम और डिजिटल इकोनॉमी में वर्ल्ड लीडर बनाने वाले यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद माननीय मंत्री जी। And now, ladies and gentlemen, we invite the views of our industry leaders, the three stalwarts, the telecom service providers who have been working very closely in collaboration with the Government of India, and they have brought about a remarkable change in the digital communications sector. In fact, wherein the mobile technology today has truly become an instrument of citizen empowerment. So we invite now the views of Shri Mukesh Dhirubhai Ambani ji, the Chairman, Reliance Industries Limited, inviting him for his address.
Most respected Prime Minister Shri Narendra Bhai Modi ji, Honorable Minister Shri Vaishnav ji, Honorable Minister of State Shri Chauhan ji, Secretary Telecom Shri Rajaraman ji, my good friends from industry Sunil and Kumar, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My hearty congratulations to DOT and COAI for organizing the 6th edition of the India Mobile Congress. I can wholeheartedly say today that as Indian telecom industry, what we have demonstrated, I feel very proud, and to both COAI and DOT, I can say that we are now ready to take leadership, and the Indian Mobile Congress should now become the Asian Mobile Congress and the Global Mobile Congress. Today is also very special because it coincides with our national celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Our beloved Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Bhai Modi ji, has shared an inspiring vision of making India a developed nation by 2047. Every policy and every action of the government is skillfully crafted to propel India towards that goal. The steps taken to fast-track India's march into the 5G era provide a compelling proof of our Prime Minister's determination. This is most heartening because 5G is much more than the next generation of connectivity technology. To my mind, it is a foundational technology that unlocks the full potential of other 21st century technologies like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, robotics, blockchain, and metaverse. In fact, I think of 5G as an acronym for 5 goals that fundamentally can transform our nation. First, 5G and 5G-enabled digital solutions can bring affordable and high-quality education and skill development within the reach of common Indians. This will help young Indians realize their full potential by arming them with world-class capabilities and competencies so that they can earn more and make India globally competitive. Second, 5G can affordably deliver high-quality healthcare to rural and remote areas by turning existing hospitals into smart hospitals without much additional investment. This will make services of the best doctors digitally available anywhere in India, dramatically improve the speed and accuracy of diagnostics, and enable real-time clinical decision-making. All this will enhance health, wealth, and happiness of all Indians. Third, 5G can bridge the gap between urban and rural India by accelerating digitization and intelligent data management of agriculture services, trade, industry, the informal sector, transportation, and energy infrastructure. This will create huge efficiencies in all economic activities, making India a hub of innovation and also help us mitigate the climate crisis. 4, 5G can make available the same powerful productivity tools to small-scale industry and commercial enterprises as are used by large capital-intensive businesses. This will drive modernization and profitability of all sectors of India's economy. And fifth and final, by bringing artificial intelligence into every domain, 5G can power India's emergence as the world's intelligence capital. This will help India become a major exporter of high value-added digital solutions and services. Achieving these 5 goals will trigger a huge explosion of entrepreneurship in our country, which in turn will attract even larger investments and create millions of new jobs for our young people. By harnessing the combined power of demography and digital technologies, India can become the world's leading digital society, setting a benchmark for simultaneously achieving the dual goals of acceleration of growth and inclusion in development. Acceleration of growth by making India a $40 trillion economy by 2047, up from $3 trillion today, and inclusion in development by increasing our per capita income rapidly to $20,000 from $2,000 per capita today. Therefore, it will not be an exaggeration to say that 5G is like a digital Kamdhenu, the heavenly cow that grants whatever we desire. Esteemed dignitaries, the rollout of 5G in India is not an ordinary event in India's telecom history. It carries the keen expectations and the high aspirations of 1.4 billion Indians. With 5G, India will take longer and faster strides towards Sabka Digital Saath or Sabka Digital Vikas. India may have started a little late, but I want to assure all of you, we will finish first by rolling out 5G services across the length and breadth of India. And as an industry, we will ensure that we have the highest quality and the most affordable rates that anyone else has in the world. Today, I want to reiterate Jio's commitment to deliver 5G to every town every taluka and every tehsil of our district by December of 2023. Most of Jio's 5G is developed in India and hence carries the stamp of Atmanirbhar Bharat. On this occasion, I would like to congratulate Honorable Shri Ashwini Vaishnavji and the Government of India for their efforts to strengthen BSNL. A strong BSNL will bring the balancing presence of a government entity in this very strategic sector. Most respected Pradhan Mantriji, before I conclude, I would like to express a deep-seated emotion of pride in my heart, a pride felt by every Indian. Your leadership has raised India's prestige, profile, and power globally like never before. In today's fast-changing world, there will be no stopping a resurgent India from soaring to the top, a place that is rightfully ours. India and Indians can't settle for anything less. All of us at the India Mobile Congress assure you that we will work together and walk together under your guidance towards the glorious future that awaits our nation. Thank you and a very happy Navratri to all of you and all my fellow Indians.
Thank you, Shrimani, for sharing your vision and the commitment towards delivering the 5G services to the citizens of the country and shaping a new progressive smart India. और अब आमंत्रित हैं श्री सुनील भारती मित्तल जी, चेयरमैन भारती एंटरप्राइजेस। उनसे निवेदन है सम्मानित सभा को संबोधित करने के लिए।
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री लोकप्रिय मोदी जी, श्री अश्विनी वैष्णव चौहान जी, सेक्रेटरी टेलीकॉम, मेरे इंडस्ट्री के साथी मुकेश अंबानी जी, कुमार बिरला, मेरे पुराने हमसफर राजीव चंद्रशेखर जो यहाँ आज मौजूद हैं, डिस्टिंग्विश्ड गेस्ट और बहुत सारे लोग यहाँ पे जो पिछले कई दशकों से मेरे साथ टेलीकॉम में चले हैं, उन सबका आज स्वागत है। आज एक बहुत ही अहम दिन है देश के लिए। एक नए युग की शुरुआत होने जा रही है और मेरा ये मानना है कि इस युग की शुरुआत जो ये 75वीं साल की आज़ादी की अमृत महोत्सव के टाइम पे हो रही है, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी के कर कमलों से ये एक देश में नई जागरूकता लाएगी, एक नई एनर्जी लाएगी और इससे जैसे अभी मुकेश ने भी बताया कि बहुत सी नई अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हमारे देशवासियों के लिए खुलेंगी। जो रूरल एरियाज़ हैं, जो आज शायद कुछ अभाव महसूस कर रहे हैं, उनको हर चीज़ से जोड़ा जाएगा। और सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात जो मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि हमें इस बात का गर्व है और हम बहुत भाग्यशाली हैं कि हमारे पास आज एक ऐसे लीडर हैं जो टेक्नोलॉजी को बारीकी से समझते हैं और बखूबी से सजाते हैं। मैं दुनिया में जाता हूँ, बहुत लोगों से मिलता हूँ, टेक्नोलॉजी की एप्रिसिएशन तो शायद बहुत लीडर्स करते हैं और उसकी बारीकी से समझ और उसकी जोड़ना देश की उन्नति के लिए मेरे हिसाब से शायद जो मोदी जी कर सकते हैं वो कोई भी और नहीं कर सकता। मैंने बहुत क्लोज से देखा है, जब गुजरात में चीफ मिनिस्टर थे तो ई-ग्राम लाने वाले सैटेलाइट कनेक्टिविटी से सारे गांव को गुजरात में जोड़ा गया ताकि स्टेट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से उनको जल्द से जल्द हर चीज़ मुहैया कराई जाए। ड्रिप इरिगेशन का काम हिंदुस्तान में सबसे पहले प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किया। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट की बात जब होती थी तो गुजरात सबसे आगे निकलता था। इंडस्ट्री की सपोर्ट के लिए सबसे आगे आते थे क्योंकि उनको मालूम है कि इससे एम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ेगी, इससे अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ बढ़ेंगी। तो आज हम सब बहुत भाग्यशाली हैं कि आप जैसे नेता देश को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। आपने कुछ आके सबके सामने विजन रखे, उसमें डिजिटल इंडिया का एक विजन था जो हमने पकड़ा और मेरा ये मानना है कि उस विजन के बिना इस पेंडेमिक में हमारी शायद देश में बहुत दुर्गति होती। आपने आके जब ये डिजिटल विजन दिया, उससे एक एक्सेलरेशन हुई और मैं
मुकेश की आप सराहना करूंगा कि उन्होंने आके जो हम 4G ऑलरेडी चला रहे थे उसको बहुत गति दी और हम सबको भागना पड़ा, बहुत तेज से पकड़ना पड़ा। और जब पेंडेमिक की मार पड़ी तो रातों रात ट्रैफिक शहरों से गांव में पहुंचाया, दफ्तरों से घरों में पहुंचाया। इस देश की एक मिनट के लिए भी धड़कन नहीं रुकी। हमारा काम लगातार चलता रहा और डिजिटल विजन को उसका श्रेय जाता है। मोदी जी ने बात की मेक इन इंडिया की, इन्होंने नारा लगाया लाल किले से मेक इन इंडिया का। मैं आज ये कन्फेस करता हूं कि मेरा ये मानना था कि मेरी जिंदगी में इस देश में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग नहीं बन पाएगी, खास तौर पे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स में। 500-600 बिलियन डॉलर की हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं, मेरे को उम्मीद नहीं थी। उससे थोड़ी उम्मीद आई, पर आज तो ये रियलिटी बन गई है कि ये देश मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का देश बनने जा रहा है। डिजिटल के साथ उन्होंने स्टार्टअप इंडिया का नारा लगाया। हर महीने यूनिकॉर्न पैदा होने शुरू हो गए हैं और मेरा ये मानना है कि 5G के तहत आने वाले सालों में सैकड़ों यूज केस, हजारों और एंटरप्रेन्योर और दर्जनों और यूनिकॉर्न इस देश में पैदा होंगे। वो भी उसका श्रेय स्टार्टअप इंडिया को जाता है। मोदी जी 40 साल पहले इसी अक्टूबर में 1982 में ताइवान में मैंने एक पुश बटन टेलीफोन देखा और उसको हिंदुस्तान में लेके आया, यहाँ पे उसकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग शुरू की। आज 40 साल के बाद मुझे बहुत गर्व महसूस होता है कि आज वही भारतीय एयरटेल, जो कि बहुत छोटी उम्र में अपना टेलीकॉम में कदम रखा था 40 साल पहले, आज 5G में आगे सबसे आगे चल के इस देश की सेवा में जुटी हुई है। मैं आपको यकीन दिलाना चाहता हूं कि भारती के सब लोग और एयरटेल के सब लोग पूरे जोर से, पूरी अपना हिम्मत से 5G को देश में फैलाएंगे और 2023 मार्च तक काफ़ी शहरों में और 2024 मार्च तक सारे देश में 5G का फैलाव करेंगे। और आज जब आप लॉन्च करेंगे इस 5G को तो 8 शहरों में आज 5G एयरटेल की तरफ से उपलब्ध होगा। दिल्ली, वाराणसी, मुंबई, बेंगलोर और कई शहरों में। तो मैं आपको बहुत धन्यवाद दूंगा कि आपने आके यहाँ आज सबकी शोभा बढ़ाई है। खास तौर पे मैं कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट करूंगा DOT को और COI को, जिन्होंने आज इस IMC को एक मोबाइल वर्ल्ड कांग्रेस के लेवल पे आज लेके गए हैं। आज अगर आप बाहर जाएंगे तो देखेंगे कि दुनिया में कहीं भी आप एग्जीबिशन देखेंगे उससे आज यहाँ कम नहीं है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। देश और देश के विकास की तरफ समर्पित आपकी भावनाओं, आपकी कोशिशों और विशेष रूप से 5G सर्विसेज की तरफ जो आपको सभी को ले जाने की तरफ जो कोशिश है उसके बारे में हमें जानकारी देने का। और अब आमंत्रित करते हैं प्रोग्रेसिव आइडियाज और विजन श्री कुमार मंगलम बिरला जी की, चेयरमैन आदित्य बिरला ग्रुप।
Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Minister for Telecom, IT and Railways Shri Ashwini Vaishnav, Honorable Minister of State Shri Devu Singh Chauhan, Honorable Secretary Telecom Shri M. Rajaraman, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, Mr. Sunil Mittal. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, for your very inspiring presence today at the Indian Mobile Congress 2022. It is on the back of your vision and leadership that we will today witness a generational leap in technology. This is a leap that demonstrates India's prowess on the global stage and reinforces the telecom industry's role as the bedrock of digital India. Honorable Sir, we thank you for acknowledging the industry's role during the pandemic and for the path-breaking telecom reforms announced by the government under your leadership. I take this opportunity to also thank Minister Shri Ashwini Vaishnav for steering the sector so skillfully into the future. I express my gratitude to Minister of State, Shri Devu Singh Chauhan, Secretary DOT, Chairman TRAI, and all the officers of DOT and TRAI for accelerating the country's digitization agenda. As all of you know, the telecom industry has been one of the country's key growth engines, catapulting India into the top 5 economies of the world. It continues to play a transformational role, touching every aspect of our daily lives and work. Today, we are set to make a giant leap into the future, driven by the reformist and futuristic policies of our Honorable Prime Minister. We are committed to the vision of building the digital infrastructure for the India of tomorrow. As the Honorable Prime Minister launches India's 5G networks here today, the telecom industry will further ignite the digital dreams of 1.3 billion Indians and many thousands of enterprises. It will also set the stage for the country to become a $5 trillion economy in the next few years, with $1 trillion contribution by the digital economy itself. 5G will augment services at scale and will create impact in critical areas like Industry 4.0, automated manufacturing, to creating the connected factory, smart cities, smart automobiles, smart homes, immersive gaming, and other innovative business and consumer solutions. 5G will also accelerate immersive education, remote health, and smart agriculture to enable inclusive growth and prosperity in rural India, thus realizing the PM's philosophy of benefit to Antyodaya. The Honorable Prime Minister's vision, global influence, as well as enabling government policies and platforms such as Gati Shakti and Make in India will play a crucial role in catalyzing the required investments into our sector. Sir, your government has made critical policy interventions, boosting investor confidence in the sector, and as we move into the 5G era, we hope to receive continued policy support to drive the 5G revolution in this digital decade. Vodafone Idea is committed to taking India on this new pace of the country's digital journey. We have 240 million citizens connected to our networks, with 50% of them in rural India. Our networks have been constantly upgraded to be capable of smooth and swift migration to 5G. Having taken concrete steps for the 5G ecosystem development, 5G use cases for Indian enterprises and consumers, and acquisition of 5G spectrum in a very well-designed auction, we will soon begin the 5G rollout journey. We will leverage our strong presence in rural India, our enterprise customers, our technology partners, and the global experience of the Vodafone Group for progressively rolling out our 5G networks and services in the coming period. Today, we are greatly honored that our beloved Prime Minister will soon launch the VI 5G use case demonstration. Our unique use case addresses the need for safe working conditions for workers at infrastructure construction sites by leveraging digital infrastructure and 5G. It will demonstrate how a high-speed, ultra-low latency 5G network can be used in India for ensuring worker safety and efficiency in the supervision of critical construction sites. I believe the launch of 5G services marks the beginning of an exciting journey for India. As the ecosystem evolves, we will see limitless potential for 5G development and use cases in the years to come. I thank our Prime Minister for underlining his support to the sector with his presence here today. The telecom industry will certainly play its role in bringing alive his vision for an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving us a sneak peek into the world of 5G with your address, and thank you also for your commitment. And ladies and gentlemen, the India Mobile Congress was conceived in the year 2017, and the first conference was organized in the year 2017. Over the years, it has grown in size and stature, in impact and impression. And in fact, it has truly become a representation of the digital dreams, digital ambitions of 1.4 billion people, earning a very unique place in the global and annual calendar of global conversations on technologies and the digital communications. And today, as we open IMC 2022, we all stand very excited to engage, encapsulate, and experience this new digital universe, which is just about to open and ready to engage and explore. So may I request our Honorable Prime Minister to please declare India Mobile Congress 2022 open by launching a film with a click of a remote. माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से निवेदन है कि रिमोट का बटन दबाकर IMC 2022 को लॉन्च करें।
India, under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, is rapidly marching ahead on the path of unprecedented development. Technology has contributed significantly to India's growth story. Digital India has been an enabler in transforming sectors, bringing positive change in the lives of people, providing government services to the last person, and empowering the unempowered. India's mighty IT sector is for global good. India's strength lies in developing low-cost, innovative, inclusive, and sustainable solutions that further ease of living for people. As India is taking new resolutions in this Amrit Kaal of independence, it is a beginning of a new chapter in this decade of India. Today, we herald a new era of technology, innovation, and growth, led by the vision that strives to create a difference in the lives of every citizen of the country.
एक नया विश्व तैयार हो रहा है। भारत उसे आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, और मैं साफ देख रहा हूं दोस्तों, ये डेकेड मानव जात के लिए डेकेड का समय है, टेक्नोलॉजी का डेकेड है।
5G, a vision of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, is a technology mission. The advent of 5G technologies will be a game changer for the economic and social development of the country. This will revolutionize various building blocks of the nation, including education, agriculture, healthcare, manufacturing and logistics, and add strength to the nation's resolve of building a developed India. The India Mobile Congress, a global platform working towards the vision of creating a new digital universe, promises to be the largest congregation of the industry, intelligentsia, and the end consumer. Spread over an area of 26,000 square meters, the event will be a host to over 5,000 CXOs from various companies. There would be over 230 exhibitors, and over 100 startups would showcase their tech prowess. The multiple parallel conferences would be attended by over 196 global speakers. An estimated 70,000 visitors would attend this 4-day event, making it one of the most prolific events in its genre. The India Mobile Congress 2022, a global platform for a global vision.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, a world of unlimited possibilities and opportunities is just about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been all eagerly waiting for this moment, जब देशवासियों को माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के कर कमलों द्वारा 5G की एक विशेष सौगात मिलने जा रही है। तो मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से निवेदन करना चाहूंगी कि वे रिमोट का बटन दबाकर 5G सर्विसेज का लोकार्पण करें। सभी की तालियों के बीच में यहाँ पर स्वागत करते हैं 5G सर्विसेज का। India today, ladies and gentlemen, getting this gift of 5G at the hands of Honorable Prime Minister, and From today onwards, the service providers are going to be rolling out the 5G services in different parts of the country, and we're expecting that by the end of 2024, almost 75% of the citizens of this country are going to be able to avail the 5G services. और अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के कर कमलों द्वारा 5G सर्विसेज के लोकार्पण के बाद अब देखते हैं कि किस तरह से 5G सर्विसेज के आने के बाद ज़मीनी स्तर पर काफ़ी परिवर्तन आएगा, बदलाव आएगा। इसकी तरफ हम अब यहाँ पर कुछ यूज़ केसेस को डिमॉन्स्ट्रेट करेंगे जो कि हमारे लीडिंग टेलीकॉम सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स की तरफ से है। पहला जो यूज़ केस है वो रिलायंस जियो की तरफ से है। शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में पढ़ेगा भारत तभी तो बढ़ेगा भारत, और डेमो स्कूल्स के छात्रों के साथ वर्चुअली हमारे साथ अब जुड़ रहे हैं महाराष्ट्र के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री एकनाथ शिंदे जी, गुजरात के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री भूपेंद्र भाई पटेल जी, ओडिशा के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री नवीन पटनायक जी, महाराष्ट्र के उप मुख्यमंत्री श्री देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी, और समन्वय के लिए धीरूभाई अंबानी इंटरनेशनल स्कूल के शिक्षक। आप सभी का स्वागत है। और अब कॉन्टेक्स्ट सेटिंग के लिए और आगे की कार्यवाही के लिए अब हम सीधा जुड़ते हैं मुंबई से, और वहाँ पर हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही लोकप्रिय और मशहूर भारतीय लेखक अमीश त्रिपाठी जी हैं। मैं उनका स्वागत करती हूँ एंड आई हैंड ओवर टू हिम नाउ।
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी, रिलायंस के चेयरमैन श्री मुकेश अंबानी जी, मंत्रीगण, उपस्थित महानुभावों और मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, नमस्कार। आज हमने 4 स्कूल्स को यहाँ डिजिटली कनेक्ट किया है। एक एक्सपर्ट टीचर जो मुंबई के एक स्कूल में है, बाकी के 3 स्कूल्स के साथ अपना नॉलेज शेयर कर रहे हैं। आइए एक वीडियो के जरिए हम एजुकेशन सिस्टम की जरूरतों को समझें।
विश्व शक्ति बनने की ताकत रखने वाले भारत को अपनी नई पीढ़ी को सही तरीके से ढालना और संवारना होगा। ये बच्चे जो भविष्य में इस देश के नेता, बिजनेसमैन, साइंटिस्ट्स, डॉक्टर्स और एंटरप्रेन्योर्स बनेंगे, यही हमारे देश का आत्मनिर्भर भारत का सपना साकार करेंगे। और इस सपने को पूरा करने के लिए शिक्षा ही उनका सबसे जरूरी माध्यम है। भारत में आज 25 करोड़ से भी ज्यादा विद्यार्थी हैं, जिनमें से 10 करोड़ क्वालिटी एजुकेशन से वंचित हैं। एक अच्छी शिक्षा का स्तर तब मिल पाता है जब हमारे विद्यार्थियों के पास क्वालिटी कंटेंट, ट्रेन टीचर्स और कोलैबोरेशन का मौका हो। जियो ट्रू 5G अब इसे संभव करेगा। विश्व स्तर का एजुकेशन कंटेंट आज तक सिर्फ कुछ ही स्कूलों में उपलब्ध था, लेकिन ये कंटेंट सबसे पहले देश भर के सारे शिक्षकों को मिलना चाहिए, जो आगे जाकर इसे अपने विद्यार्थियों के साथ साझा करेंगे। इसी के साथ शिक्षकों का आपस में कोलैबोरेशन, टीचिंग कम्युनिटीज का निर्माण, एजुकेशनल कंटेंट का आदान प्रदान और साथ ही को टीचिंग मेथड का उपयोग एक बड़े स्तर पर ट्रेन टीचर्स तैयार कर सकते हैं। केवल इतना ही नहीं, अलग अलग स्कूल्स के विद्यार्थी, चाहे वो कहीं भी हो, किसी भी स्तर पर हो, एक साथ आकर अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स पर काम कर सकते हैं और अपनी कल्पनाओं को साकार होते देख सकते हैं। जियो ट्रू 5G एक ऐसा अनोखा इकोसिस्टम बनाएगा जो बच्चों के सपनों को पंख देगा और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी के भारत के 247 तक के डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमी बनने के विजन को भी पूरा करेगा। अब बढ़ेगा इंडिया तो बढ़ेगा इंडिया।
स्क्रीन पर चल रही लाइव क्लास के माध्यम से आप देख सकते हैं कि कैसे स्कूल्स में क्वालिटी एजुकेशन की कमी को जियो ट्रू 5G पूरा कर रहा है। और इसमें जब ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी और वर्चुअल रियलिटी जुड़ जाएगी तो शिक्षा की क्वालिटी एक नए मुकाम पर पहुंच जाएगी। इसे बासु सर एक उदाहरण से समझाएंगे। ओवर टू यू बासु सर।
I will now project my Geo glass on the screen. Our heart is a pump that circulates blood through blood vessels. It is made up of cardiac muscles which beats throughout your life, powered by electrical impulses. The 4 chambers of the heart are called the right and left atrium, which receives the blood, and the right and left ventricle, which pumps the blood. The right and the left chambers are separated by a wall which you can clearly see here, which is called as the septum.
थैंक यू सर। जब देश के 15 लाख स्कूल्स को 5G जोड़ेगा तो बनेगा भारत का एक महान डिजिटल स्कूल और होगा साकार प्रधानमंत्री जी का सपना, एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत। अब मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि वे विद्यार्थियों को अपने ओजस्वी विचारों से प्रेरित करें।
आपका नाम क्या है? आप में से कौन बात करेगा? सबने हाथ ऊपर कर दिए। अच्छा बताइए, क्या नाम है बेटे आपका?
नमस्ते सर, मेरा नाम जयमिनी ठाकुर है।
अच्छा बताइए, ये जो शिक्षक आपके सामने नहीं है और इस प्रकार से पढ़ना है, तो आपको लगता है कि पढ़ सकते हैं?
हाँ सर, पढ़ सकते हैं।
लेकिन टीचर नहीं है तो फिर क्या करोगे?
तो हम इस टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से सीख सकते हैं।
थोड़ी देर में खेलने जाने के लिए मन कर जाएगा। तो ये टेक्नोलॉजी वालों को बीच बीच में कहना पड़ेगा, ध्यान रखो, सामने देखो, बातें मत करो, ऐसा कहना पड़ेगा ना?
हाँ।
शाबाश। अच्छा, आपको कौन सा सब्जेक्ट पसंद है और आप चाहोगी कि इस प्रकार की टेक्नोलॉजी से वो सब्जेक्ट आपको पढ़ने के लिए मिल जाए? आपको इतनी छोटी आयु में चश्मा आ गया है तो आप जरूर ज्यादा पढ़ती होगी।
सर, मेरा मनपसंद साइंस है।
अच्छा, उसको लगता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी से अब मजा आएगा?
हाँ।
ज्यादा अच्छी तरह से समझ पाओगे?
हाँ।
अब ये जैसे हार्ट के विषय में अभी पढ़ाया, अगर ऐसा न होता और टीचर ने समझाया होता तो दिमाग में चित्र बनता कि हाँ ये कुछ ऐसा कह रहे हैं टीचर? नहीं बनता। देखिए, ये फर्क है टेक्नोलॉजी का, जिसका फायदा हमारे देश के बच्चों को होने वाला है। चलिए बच्चों, बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं आपको।
थैंक यू सर।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी। और बच्चे बहुत एक्साइटेड फील कर रहे थे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के साथ बात कर, और हमने देखा कि किस तरह से उनकी भी कितनी आकांक्षाएं हैं, कितने ड्रीम्स हैं। कोई साइंस में इंटरेस्टेड है और उनको भी लगता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी के आने से किस तरह से उनकी एजुकेशन और बहुत एनरिच्ड इमर्सिव एक्सपीरियंस उन्हें मिलेगा। तो इसके साथ धन्यवाद करते हैं रिलायंस जियो को, और धन्यवाद हमारे माननीय मुख्यमंत्रीगण जो हमारे साथ जुड़े थे। बच्चों को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और बढ़ते हैं अगले यूज़ केस की तरफ। ये यूज़ केस वोडाफोन आइडिया की तरफ से है, हमारे कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर्स की सेफ्टी पर केंद्रित है। देवी सज्जनों, हम सभी जानते हैं कि नए भारत के निर्माण में हमारे कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर्स एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाते आए हैं, पर साथ साथ उनकी सुरक्षा हमेशा से एक चिंता का विषय भी रहा है। और इसी को एड्रेस करते हुए, मद्देनजर रखते हुए, वोडाफोन आइडिया द्वारा डिजिटल ट्विन बनाकर दिल्ली मेट्रो की एक अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन टनल में वर्कर्स की सेफ्टी कैसे इंश्योर की जा रही है, यह अब डेमोन्स्ट्रेट किया जाएगा। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी 5G द्वारा इस टनल का टूर भी कर पाएंगे और साथ साथ वर्कर्स से संवाद भी करेंगे। तो आइए सबसे पहले इसकी तरफ देखते हैं एक फिल्म।
भारत का विकास आज नई ऊंचाइयों को छू रहा है और इस विकास को मजबूती देते हैं
हमारे मेहनती वर्कर्स, जो दिन रात एक करके देश के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को लगातार तेजी से आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। प्रधानमंत्री गति शक्ति और डिजिटल इंडिया योजना भारत को वैश्विक स्तर पर एक नई पहचान दे रहे हैं। हमारे इन मेहनती भाई बहनों की सुरक्षा हमारी जिम्मेदारी ही नहीं, कर्तव्य भी है। और इस कर्तव्य को निभाने में हमारी मदद करेगी 5G टेक्नोलॉजी। Advanced 4K HD cameras, low latency, edge AI, digital twin, real-time support और augmented reality के साथ, जो कि पहले मुमकिन नहीं था। V5G द्वारा संचालित डिजिटल ट्विन बना है लो लेटेंसी और हाई बैंडविड्थ पर, जो आपको देता है कई कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट्स की रियल टाइम 3 डायमेंशनल वीडियो फीड HD क्वालिटी में। इस टेक्नोलॉजी से आप कहीं से भी काम और वर्कर्स को गाइड कर सकते हैं, जिससे काम और भी तेजी से होगा, वो भी सुरक्षा से समझौता किए बिना। तो आइए मिलकर कदम बढ़ाएं, 5G से वर्कर्स को सुरक्षित बनाएं।
अब हम आपका ध्यान आकर्षित करेंगे डायस के दाईं तरफ के काले स्क्रीन पर। उस स्क्रीन के सामने आपको हमारे सुपरवाइजर कुणाल दिखेंगे, जो एक होलो लेंस पहने हुए हैं। इस होलो लेंस के द्वारा वो हमें कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट ले जाएंगे, जो देश की राजधानी दिल्ली में द्वारका मेट्रो टनल का भाग है, जहां पर वो हमें वर्कर्स की सुरक्षा के 3 यूज केसेस दिखाएंगे। कुणाल जी। सुरक्षा के किसी भी नियम का उल्लंघन होने पर तत्काल एक अलार्म दिया जा सकता है। जैसे आप देख सकते हैं, फेस मास्क के बिना काम करता हुआ श्रमिक। अब देखिए, कोई वर्कर प्रतिबंधित क्षेत्र में प्रवेश करता है तो कैसे तुरंत अलार्म सुपरवाइजर को मिलता है। इस क्षमता से अब हम टनल के अंदर उपस्थित लोगों से वार्तालाप करेंगे। इस समय टनल के अंदर उपस्थित हैं माननीय लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर विनय कुमार सक्सेना जी और डीएमआरसी टनल के निर्माण में लगे कुछ कर्मचारी। आपसे विनम्र निवेदन है कि आप V5G पे इनसे बातचीत करें।
नमस्कार माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी।
सक्सेना जी, आप टनल में पहुंच गए हैं?
जी हाँ, मैं इस वक्त मेट्रो की टनल में मौजूद हूँ और यहाँ पर उसका कार्य चल रहा है।
वहाँ कोई मजदूर भाई बहन है तो उनसे बात करेंगे, कुछ विशेष बता सकते हैं कोई?
जी हाँ, यहाँ पर काफी लोग मौजूद हैं और मैं यहाँ पर रिंकू कुमार जी को बुला रहा हूँ, जो आपसे संवाद करेंगे।
नमस्कार माननीय प्रधानमंत्री।
नमस्कार जी, नमस्कार जी। क्या शुभ नाम है आपका?
सर, यहाँ पे काम चल रहा है कंस्ट्रक्शन का।
ये टनल के काम में ये नई टेक्नोलॉजी आपको कैसे काम आ रही है?